are in first place and can remain in those lofty confines with a win tonight. A defensive struggle is expected, but sometimes big games like these don't come out the way the experts figure. From the New Jersey Meadowlands before a national television audience, it's the battle for the NFC East top spot. The New York Giants and Dallas Cowboys in the NFL Game of the Week. New York's defense is widely known to be very good, but Dallas can play a little D as well. They're ranked third in the league, but in this game they would be severely tested by the passing of Giants quarterback Phil Simms. New York picked up a first down on their initial play from scrimmage, but then an inopportune fumble abruptly halted the drive. Veteran Cowboy linebacker Mike Hegman recovered the bobbled handoff, and the Cowboys were quickly in business. Then quarterback Danny White began his assault by going to a receiver who'd be running up big numbers all evening, Mike Renfro, number 82. Renfro had 2 catches to move the Cowboys into scoring range, and then White cashed in with a rollout turned touchdown toss to a tiptoeing Tony Hill, number 80. Hill's third touchdown of the season put Dallas in front 7-0, but the Giants were quick to retaliate. On the kickoff, Naval Academy graduate Phil McConkey, number 80, easily cruised through some choppy waters for a big return. The Giants had excellent field position, but were now facing the Dallas secondary, nicknamed Thurman's Thieves, after their senior member, Dennis Thurman. These light-fingered lads already had 13 interceptions to their credit, tops in the league. But in the first half at least, Phil Simms would not be victimized by their larceny. In fact, he profited at their expense. Two quick completions got the Giants close, but when they could do no further damage, rookie kicker Jess Atkinson popped a 23-yard field goal that put New York on the scoreboard, making it 7-3. That would be all the scoring for quite some time as the Giant defense went to work. Lawrence Taylor is their acknowledged star, but another guy who's quickly making a name for himself is second-year linebacker Carl Banks, number 58. Banks was a number 1 draft pick last year, and he's proven that selection was justified. Throughout the first half, the hustling Carl Banks was everywhere. Banks added 1 quarterback sack and numerous hurries as it was he, not the double team to Lawrence Taylor, making the play. To try to defuse this defensive dynamo, Danny White went for quick passes to Renfro and Hill, and the strategy began to pay off. With the Giants now pass-conscious, a running Tony Dorsett nearly busted one up the middle for a Dallas touchdown. Tony's lament would not last long. Just 2 plays later, the fancy footwork of Danny White gave Dallas enough time to notch their second touchdown of the half. Renfro gathered it in to make it 14-3 Dallas early in period 2. Mike entered this game with 10 catches on the season. In the first half alone, he hauled in 7 grabs for over 100 yards. The Giant defense, which had given up no touchdowns in their win the week before, had now yielded 2 scores to Dallas after barely a quarter of play. The Giants began to chip away at the Dallas lead when Phil Simms spotted a streaking Bobby Johnson, number 88, over the middle. Then a passing combination that would prove to be extremely busy for the rest of the evening got the ball into field goal range. Phil Simms to Lionel Manuel would be a familiar refrain all night. But for now, their efforts could only bring on Atkinson's second field goal of the game, making the score 14-6 Dallas. Nearly as popular a passing combo was Danny White to Tony Hill as the Cowboys sliced through the Giants' defensive middle on their next possession. Just when Dallas appeared to be ready to notch another score, the league's leading defense finally acted the part on a brilliant individual effort by safety Kenny Hill, number 48. Hill's one-handed theft pulled the plug on the Dallas drive. But then in a fashion nearly as rude, the Cowboy defense went after Simms and forced the Giants to move in the wrong direction. Number 72, Ed Jones' sack, helped get the ball back in Cowboy hands just before halftime. And once again, Danny White and Mike Renfro were eager to resume their profitable passing combination. When Dallas tried that once vulnerable middle of the Giant defense, those friendly confines got very unfriendly in a hurry. The half ended with no further threat from Dallas. But as the third quarter began, New York stunned their guests with a quick strike from Simms to Manuel. The 51-yard score to Manuel, New York's leading receiver, trimmed the Dallas lead considerably. And even with a missed extra point, the Giants were trailing by only a 14-12 margin. That blown point after would prove costly later on. But for now, this play was the catalyst that would set off a second-half passing explosion by Phil Simms, a man whose performance would first delight, but then ultimately disappoint New York Giant fans. One thing was certain, however, the forecasted duel between two top-ranked defenses had gone by the boards. This was turning into a shootout, and the Cowboys knew they'd have to have their 6 guns well-oiled to survive. The Giants' offense had begun the second half in explosive fashion. Now it was time for the defense, the top-ranked unit in pro football, to flex its muscles. The man who did the damage was cornerback Elvis Patterson, number 34. Patterson's interception was his second of the game, and it left the Giants in excellent field position at the Cowboy 49. From there, Phil Simms went right back to work, getting the most out of his starting wide receivers, Lionel Manuel and Bobby Johnson, number 88. Both Johnson and Manuel would finish the night with over 100 receiving yards. Manuel added 2 touchdowns, the second on this bobbling catch in the end zone that gave the Giants their first lead of the game. The Giants had come out throwing to start the second half and had paid immediate dividends. The Sims to Manuel connection had quickly erased Dallas's halftime advantage, and the Giants were in front, 19-14 midway through the third period. New York's scoring spree was not over yet. Their next touchdown was again set up by the defense, and again it was an interception, this time by Terry Kennard, number 43. Kennard's theft denied Dallas the go-ahead score, and it was soon followed by Phil Sims' third touchdown pass of the period, a 70-yarder to running back George Adams. Sims defused the Cowboys' all-out blitz beautifully, and his short pass to Adams was easily turned into 6 points. The Giants had now scored on their first 3 possessions of the second half. They were now in total command, leading 26-14 late in the third quarter. Phil Sims was on his way to the most productive yardage game of his NFL career. He would end up with 432 yards passing, the second highest single game total in New York Giants history, behind Y.A. Tittle's 505. Even more remarkable was that Sims accomplished this feat on only 18 completions. First-round draft choice George Adams waltzed into the end zone with his first NFL touchdown, the happy recipient of a perfectly executed play that made the Cowboys' dangerous blitz look silly. Giants Stadium was rocking with excitement. The hated Cowboys were on the verge of extinction in this heated NFC East battle for supremacy. Both teams were 3-1 coming in, but Giant fans not only wanted to see their team win, they wanted to see Dallas squashed. With 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter, that hope was becoming a reality, and rookie George Adams was more than willing to share in the fun. The Cowboys needed a big play of their own to get back in the game. They got it from wide receiver Mike Renfro, number 82. Renfro was Danny White's main man against the Giants, catching a career-best 10 passes for 141 yards. And this 24-yard touchdown that quickly quieted New York's raucous crowd. Renfro's scoring reception was just the tonic the Cowboys needed. Dallas had bounced back in a hurry with the most important score of the game. In danger of being blown out, the resilient Cowboys showed their character and now trailed by only 5 as the third quarter came to a close. The tide was turning in this hard-fought game of big plays, and the Giants knew it. Despite their tidal waves of touchdowns in a wild third quarter, they were only up 26-21. How long could they keep puncturing holes in Dallas's outstanding defense? The answer came quickly, and it was not the one the Giants wanted to hear. Sims threw his first interception of the night to Dennis Thurman, number 32. A Cowboy field goal followed, and it was 26-24. The Dallas defense was just getting started. The Giants turned to their running game to protect their slim lead. When that didn't work, they were forced to throw, and Sims stared straight into the Cowboys' powerful pass rush. In the face of strong pressure, Sims fumbled deep in his own territory, and Dallas recovered. Suddenly, it was the Cowboy defense that was causing mistakes. On a night that featured many outstanding individual performances on offense, the Dallas defense would emerge as the game's most dominant force. 4 giant turnovers in the final 16 minutes would turn out to be the most meaningful statistic of the evening. But now, midway through the final period, the teams traded field goals. The Cowboys' Rafael Septien booted his second three-pointer of the game to give Dallas the lead at 27-26. The Giants came right back with a field goal of their own. Jess Atkinson, replacing an injured Ali Haji Sheikh, nailed a 47-yarder with 5 minutes left. And New York jumped back in front, 29-27, in what had become a tense seesaw struggle. The game was now in the hands of the Giants' defense, and the league's best unit was up to the challenge. They shut down Dallas when they had to. The key play on third down when Leonard Marshall's hit forced a Danny White incompletion. Calling out around the world, Marshall was dancing in Giant Stadium in anticipation of a New York victory. With less than 3 minutes remaining in the game, White and the Cowboys appeared to be losers. But the celebration was premature. A fumbled snap was recovered by Dallas's middle linebacker Eugene Lockhart, and the Cowboys were in position to win a game that had seemed lost on several occasions. Rafael Septien calmly walked out onto the turf at Giant Stadium. Just over 2 minutes showed on the clock. Septien's brilliant career percentage was not a factor now. The question was whether he could save White from another inconsistent performance that featured not only 3 touchdowns, but also 4 interceptions. Tom Landry and the Cowboys watched from the sideline. Their reaction would tell you all you needed to know about Septien's kick. The 31-yarder was good, and the Cowboys were ahead 30-29. The fourth quarter had become one of field goals. Septien's 3 to Atkinson's 1. And Dallas had a 1-point lead with 2 minutes remaining. Pro football's Superman felt as if he had just entered a world where kryptonite instead of air made up the atmosphere. This game had been one of those rare times when Taylor did not dominate from his linebacker position, and his feeling of frustration and disappointment was plain to see. The Giants' final chance ended with this interception by Everson Walls, and the Cowboys, in a strong come-from-behind effort, had beaten the Giants on the road. In the tough NFC East, every game is a tense emotional battle. The stakes are higher, with the victories sweeter and the losses more bitter. On this night at Giant Stadium, Taylor and the Giants swallowed a particularly bitter pill. They lost at home in a game they had well under control late in the third quarter. Their top-ranked defense had cracked a bit in a crucial moment, and then turnovers sealed their fate. Cowboys, on the other hand, had shown resiliency and character, 2 essential qualities over the long haul. They are now 4-1. But the questions still remain concerning the erratic play of Danny White. Can White take this team to a division title? Only time will tell. But after 5 weeks, the Cowboys have shown that they know what it takes to win. The final score, Dallas 30, the Giants 29.